Hello everybody. Hi. We're in Los Gatos.
Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Edna, and today I'm gonna be asking one of my bestest friends from law school a few questions, and then I also messaged some of my friends on Instagram that are current law students or recently graduated. So let's introduce the beautiful, fabulous, gorgeous, recently graduated and recently took the bar, Tori.
Hi. Nice to meet you all.
Woo! So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have breakfast, and then we're gonna try to find a place that's not as windy so it's easier for you guys to hear. But I'm gonna ask her a few questions, and hopefully that helps some of us that are thinking of going back to law school, you know, kind of prepare for it, like especially taking the LSAT and doing all the like things on the front end, like saving and whatnot, because it's like, I'm just gonna be honest, it's so expensive to even apply to go to law school. We're gonna go eat real quick and then we'll be answering some questions.
Bye.
It seems they can touch the rainbow. I guess I'll never know, never know, never know.
Alright you guys, so we had an amazing breakfast. Tori picked out this beautiful place. What's it called? The
Los Gatos Cafe.
It was bomb.
Yeah.
I really liked it. So we're gonna start with a few questions, and then if any of my other friends answer, I'll also include their answers. But let's see. How early on should people start studying for the LSAT?
We talked about 3 months. My programs were just 2 months, but I didn't do as well as I would like, so I think 3 months would be better. Usually the programs are right before you take the exam, and I kind of felt like I needed more time to sit with the strategies that they teach you, especially since a portion of the exam is doing games. And I think the more games you practice with the strategies that they teach you, the better you'll do. And so I felt like I learned all these cool new tricks like right before the exam, but I didn't have time to really like work them out in my head and like know how to do it. So I might say even more than that, or at least try and take a program or some kind of in-class
I feel like the classes are super helpful
earlier on than right before, even though that's their method, is doing them right before, because they think having it fresh in your mind you're going to do well, but some people are not like that. They
need to implement those strategies. Yeah, but the courses are expensive, so I would definitely say like even look at it like 6 months prior to the test you want to take. Like maybe you're not studying like that, but prepare for like taking a course or something, because they're easily what, $1,500?
They might be in the $1,000 or at least the high hundreds, depending on which company you use. Yeah. Because I know I use Kaplan. I did the Blueprint online program, so I just had their video instructors, and I thought they were cool. I don't know what kind of instructor I would have had like in person, if that person would be cool, but the instructor I had with Kaplan, he was experienced. It wasn't like the environment that I loved. It was like a hotel room, like
that's how mine
a hotel like conference room, 2 evenings a week, and I took it in February, so it was like in the middle of winter, and it was dark and it was rainy when I'd be driving there, and I just kind of felt like a little bit miserable going to these things. But I mean, he was okay. I mean, he was just matter of fact about it all, and so.
Well, studying for the LSAT in general is a miserable time. Like, let's be honest, it is not a happy time. You're hella stressed, and
I mean, you're excited. You want to go to law school.
No, yeah, but it's like a means to an end. Like, no one says, "Oh, I want to take the LSAT" or "I want to study for the LSAT." No, they don't say that.
It's more of a thing you have to just check off and do. It has nothing to do with like, you know, why you want to go to law school and the things you're going to learn in law school. It's a totally different ball game, and you're just like, it's just what I have to do to get there, even though it's like, it's nothing, like the topics are nothing you're passionate about. It's quite, yeah, it is awful.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of law school?
Favorite part of
aside from meeting me, duh.
Yeah. No,
I mean, school besties.
Meeting you was the best, obviously. Of course. I mean, I actually think I enjoyed my first year more than I enjoyed the rest.
Really?
The first year is different I also transferred, so I did go to different schools for my second and third year, but the first year I feel like there's a bit more support. Like you have TAs for your classes, which you don't once you get like higher up.
Oh, they should
and
keep
then
that.
everyone is kind of like having this like stressful anxiety like feelings together. Like we're all in this for this, like, you know, this is our first year and we're all like new to law school, and it felt nice to be like in a sinking ship with everyone. No, but we didn't sink. We did pretty well, and so I did like my first year better, and I actually really liked our
like our cohort.
Yes, but I also liked our studying for finals, and like so we went to the school that had rooms that were like they had whiteboard paint like all on all of the walls, and it was just so fun to walk in there and then just like map out a class and like everything that you needed to know, and it was just like you could visualize what all the topics were and how they related to each other. And the school that I transferred to, we didn't have that. They had some rooms that had like smaller whiteboards.
Yeah.
But I kind of just missed because I'm more of a, I mean, I know I'm an auditory learner, but I also am a visual learner. And so having that was really helpful for me. I almost thought about like going there just sometime.
You're funny. So you would say your favorite part of law school was your first year with your amazing friends and just the whole vibe of sharing something in common, I think. Because we were stressed.
Yeah, we were all in the same classes together. With the exception of like we had smaller writing classes, and that's when you kind of would break off from some of your friends. But for the main classes, we were all together. Now when you're in your second and third year, it's more of a like you can pick and choose your schedule. You just have to make sure you get some bar classes done before you graduate.
I think for us it was helpful that I was commuting and so was Tori, and like the group of our friends, like, you know, Ronnie, Nikki, like a lot of them were commuting. So I think that was encouraging that we weren't the only ones. Mind you, some people like Tori and Nikki took advantage of their commute and would read, right? Yeah. Other people like me, I was like, I'm so tired, let me go on YouTube and relax. And that was like not the best use of my time.
I know, yeah. I mean, some people, their commuting is a little less like stable, like they might be transferring trains, and so they couldn't really like, you know, sit down and open a book. But I took a train for, well, I transferred from something to a train, but that train section was like 2.5 hours. Yeah. So I had plenty time to sit down.
And you guys had tables, right?
And yeah, we sometimes it was a fight for the tables. But yeah, no, usually I would try and get the part of the train that had tables so that I can like open my book and highlight. Although if you've ever highlighted on a train, it is really difficult. Your lines are like because the train's like so. But yeah, no, I took advantage of it, and actually that was really helpful because I like could only focus on that. I like put my phone away. Their Wi-Fi on the train is already spotty, so I was just like, I'm not gonna even try watching videos. And so I just like did my reading. And then also I think it was more helpful in the morning, like my train ride to school. I did a lot of the reading like right before class, and so it was fresh in my mind.
One of my favorite things was the friendships that you start, you know, and just the relationships you develop. And I feel like the sisterhood of it all, you know, like I felt like I could count on these women because we were going through the same thing. We were struggling, we were commuting, but I don't know, it just like, I think it like made our friendship stronger because it was a really hard time. Like that first year was really hard.
I think everyone in our class, at least, I don't know much about the other ones, but our class were super supportive. And no one was trying to tear anyone down or like up the other person. You know, you hear about competitions in some of the like higher up schools or in other majors, but like we weren't trying to really compete with each other. We were trying to support each other. Even though they grade on a curve. So that means,
so your classmates are your competition.
So that means the bottom, for our class, the bottom, was it 10%?
I think it was 10%.
The bottom 10% was kicked out. And so in a way you are kind of competing with each other, but for some reason we didn't care. When people would put on Facebook that they forgot to bring a certain book home and they needed like a copy of the pages, people would send copies of pages.
What was the thing you hated most about law school? Because I can straight up say that the lack of support from our administration was probably one of the worst things I faced. Aside from my scholarship was directly tied to getting a 3.0, where it's kind of hard to get your grades at a certain level if there's a curve, and there is always a curve in law school. So for me, that was like probably the thing I hated the most. There was a lot of things I enjoyed and loved, but what did you hate the most from law school? Or what was the hardest moment? Maybe you didn't hate anything, but
I mean, I also didn't like that people's scholarships were tied to their GPA, because that meant I lost some people that I went to school with, and that bummed me out. Because they didn't give some folks enough time to bring their GPA back up. It was sort of like your 1L year, when you're getting used to law school, you're getting used to the school environment, the way to study, the way to prepare for classes. Like, everything is new because it's not like your undergrad. And then if you didn't do well that first year, it really impacted your scholarship, and then people had to drop out because law school is really expensive. And
but we're not talking about didn't do well like they failed their classes. No. We're talking about people had C's and B's, but their GPA fell under a certain number, and that's why, you know, we're not saying, oh, they failed classes. If you're failing classes, that's something else. Maybe you do need more time, maybe something's going on, but we're not talking about failing classes. We're talking about people weren't doing as well compared to their classmates, and so it was like a Hunger Games type of situation.
Yeah, for scholarships, C's and B's meant you could lose it. You really had to have A's and B's. So people were still passing classes but losing their scholarship, and that just doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, it's expensive. And then I think my last question is, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
What this question?
Take me with you to that second school.
Man, I wish. You would have loved it.
I think I would have loved it too.
It was a totally different environment.
You know, they waitlisted when I applied.
Yeah, I did.
I was waitlisted. Yeah.
Waitlisted too. Okay, what would I do differently? It's hard. For the most part, I think I did okay.
You did amazing.
I think I did okay. I did my best to take advantage of like being able to externship, or other people say internship, during the school year. So I did a few of those my second and third year. I was a part of journals, which I don't love, but it, you know, it's something that like people put on their resumes.
Yeah. That's amazing though, and it's so competitive to get on the school journal.
Well, not law review, but like we've had other journals that were like more issue specific. So there was an environmental law one and a social justice law one. Yeah, law review is hard to get onto, but I said forget that. I'm like, I don't need it. I don't love journals. It's not like my passion to constantly blue book people's work. But it's so stupid. I don't even think I would do much different. I studied the best that I could. There were times where I got towards the end of some classes and I thought, man, I should have like been more on top of the reading, or I should have like gone to the teachers like office hours to really like better understand certain things. But I mostly did my best to pull it around at the end, so it worked out. But I might have taken advantage of my teachers more and gone to their office hours. Yeah. When I took evidence, that was like my hardest class ever. I went to my teacher's office hours after every, well, maybe once a week or like twice a week. And I believe her, because she was always that person who was the first one in line for office hours, because there would be a line. Oh my god, oh, for crim law? For criminal law, dude, that teacher had like, she had her office hours. That class was already late, and then it was like practically at 4 or 5 in the evening, and then we would be like, we're like, okay, I have a 3.5 hour trip home, like let's get this going. But I would be first in line for her office hours because criminal law was quite confusing because she didn't explain it fully. So you mentioned something before, like when we were talking, you said the bar was even more intense and harder than the LSAT. Yeah, a million times more. So would you say law, like applying to law school and going to law school is more of a, it's not a sprint, it's not a, what is it? Like how would you describe it? Like, so applying to law school and going to law school, it's a marathon. Because so for law school, really, like I always tell people, like, and one else, like, don't burn yourself out at the beginning. A lot of what is put on like the final exams is stuff that is taught at the end, and some people like just check out the last couple of weeks, especially in our torts class. He went on to a new topic like the last 3 weeks of class, which was when we started to do strict liability, and people were like checked out by that time, and they thought, oh, it's not going to be on the exam. Well, it was a full essay question, so if you didn't know it, you were practically out a third of your final exam grade. You need to just like push through for every class, you know, stay focused till the end, you know, don't freak out on all of your exams. But then the reason why the bar exam is a lot harder than the LSAT, I mean, no offense, LSAT is just you have to study strategy. But for bar exam, you have to memorize actual like legal theories, and
everything's up for grab, right?
Right. With the LSAT, like they can bring up any kind of reading comprehension prompt and you just have to answer the questions. But with the bar exam, they might ask you specifically about for example, like manslaughter, and you have to have memorized all of the elements and then apply them to the facts of the case, or the fact pattern that they give you. And so it's harder to fake. I mean, some people can fake it, but it's harder to fake. Then with the LSAT, you don't need to have elements memorized, and the LSAT doesn't have an essay portion. It's all multiple choice.
Well, there's a writing portion, but that's more like if a school wants to see your writing.
It's not graded.
Yeah.
This has 6 essays. They're all graded.
Going into someone's home, that was 4 elements, right? Or there was 5?
For burglary? Oh, you mean the breaking and entering at night of another's dwelling with malice aforethought? Yeah, so...
And there has to be malice aforethought.
Intent to commit a felony therein. So you like...
See, this is why she finished law school.
So you need to know these elements, but really in the real world, you don't need to have this all memorized. There will be like a lot of law books, and nowadays everything is online. So you just look it up and you can pull down like jury instructions or like court drafted documents, and you just kind of fill in the blanks. And so all of the elements are there, but for the exam you have to have everything memorized. So that made it really difficult. And if anyone wants like a cool like tip, I did make a whole bunch of mnemonics.
I am gonna ask Tori for tips, because the questions that I asked my friends, I'm not gonna include in this video because I don't want it to be too long. But that also gives you guys a chance to send me questions where I can ask Tori and I can ask other people. I think like you're a star and you're shining, and then this is your video. So what other tips? Like like the mnemonics. Sorry that I interrupted you.
Yes. Yeah, that's the best.
Can you give an example of a mnemonic that you used? There was one we had. It was a Lion King one, I think.
Oh, we had Mufasa.
Mufasa, yes.
Yeah.
For Cipro or for property?
No, we had it for torts.
Oh, okay. Do you remember it?
No.
Okay, is there an example of one that you remember?
Pit for, this is for property, and it's the, I'm trying to think. Oh, the 4 unities of a joint tenancy, where it's like possession, intent, time, title, or you come up with...
I don't remember that. Did we cover that?
Or you come up with an echo for, what was, for adverse possession, which was like, no, it was, actual, notorious, exclusive, continuous, was it open? Yeah. And then something like that. So
how do you remember this? This is from the first year.
Yeah, this is like first year.
Oh my god.
But we made up some crazy ones. The reason why I don't want to like go over them is because they're like, sometimes I just had to make weird words that don't like make sense. So like for fraud, I came up with fork. And it's like, no one would memorize fork for fraud, but like it worked for me because it was like false assertion, like of a fact, reasonable reliance, and like you knowingly made this false assertion. So it's like F-O-R-K, but like they seem silly and stupid, but like somehow
but they're so helpful.
The trick is to remember that that 4-letter word applies to that like topic. Don't forget it, otherwise you're like, wait, what was it? I don't remember. But like sometimes actually the sillier ones I memerized more than the ones that were kind of like normal. I would also say like learn your learning style, because we had study groups and they were so helpful. And I've
never really been a team player, so I don't like being in groups because my experience has been people don't carry their own weight, and I don't want to, you know, be doing extra work. But in law school, it seemed like everyone was doing so much more than me, so me joining a study group, I was feeding off of their like their learning process and style, and it was so helpful to be in study groups, dude. Like literally Tori, because I checked out on one of the classes, and Tori taught me Civ Pro in one day, literally one day. That was probably, like, you need an award for that, because I got an A in that class, and I swear to you, that was probably the worst professor we had. Mind you, I didn't do a lot of work on my own either, so it was also on me, but Tori taught me everything. So I think study groups are important. If you can, you know, if that's how you can learn, I think that'd be a great, like, thing to take advantage of. Any other tips? Or like maybe for like people thinking of going to law school, is there a tip that you would give them? Like for example, apply early. Don't wait until the last minute when these schools are already giving out all their offers and all their money.
Yeah, you'll be waitlisted on everything, and that's basically like a false hope. There is like no waitlist. So definitely apply, even if you haven't taken the LSAT yet, but you're going to take it like in February. Still apply in like September, October, like as soon as the applications come out, and then just let them know that you're going to take the test later. I thought I should have taken the test and then apply, so I didn't apply until like March after I got my results from the February exam. Don't do that. So
that's way late. Everyone already knows by January or February if they're in.
That's why it was like waitlist. I'm like, forget you guys. So apply early, whether or not you've taken the exam, but you'll probably have, because there's also what, June and October and something like that. So yeah.
And I would say apply the marathon analogy to everything, even while you're preparing to apply for law school, because the LSAT will be difficult, but there's no rush. They have it like every other month, and law schools are not going anywhere. So I believe they open up their applications in October, maybe September. So just look at it. If you feel prepared, start prepping for it a few months before that. But for example, me, I'm gonna start studying next month, but I'm not applying this October. I'm not going to apply until next year. So that gives me, you know, a good chunk of time to prepare. And if I don't feel ready, then I'll wait a whole nother year. The schools aren't going anywhere. So I would say apply that to the take your time. Okay, you guys, so I do think that's all we have for today. Tori, you were amazing. Girl, the camera loves you. Look at you glowing. Look at you being gorgeous and beautiful. So Tori recently took the bar. So if you do have other questions, whether you're still in law school, thinking about it, or you just graduated, like if you have questions, let us know, because we'll be hanging out in a few weeks so we can film a part 2. But your answers were amazing, dude. Like even me, like I'm learning so much from you. And I'm so proud of you. Let's work on getting more women out there, more people out in the legal field, people who actually want to help and aren't just trying to get rich off of it, you know, because it's expensive. But I think that's why it's important we have these conversations, so you know, we can get information out and stuff. So yeah, so thank you for answering a bunch of questions.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love you. All right, you guys, so we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Mwah. 'Cause I know both ways that I'll be